Hello, sir. How are you? Hey. We promise we'll let you go get snacks in a few minutes. Good evening. Welcome. I'm Sister Carol Bauer, and I've been hanging around the Phoenix Project for more than 15 years. And it is a pleasure to be here this evening to welcome you. The Phoenix Next process, believe it or not, actually started last winter. And over the last 10 months, even though I believe at some of those initial meetings we came together with mixed emotions, a little uncertainty in our concern, but we have come together. We've had 3 other public meetings up to now. Many of you may have been invited to a neighborhood gathering or to another group gathering, all of it attempting to ask us to bring our best insight, to bring our understanding of the community, and to work together to attempt to put together a vision for the future of the 13-acre site and the adjoining neighborhoods. As an individual who's been involved in the Phoenix Project, I'm proud to say, for me, it has been a wonderful thing to watch people come together, do just that, because it matters to them. I would hope, when we're finished this evening, that what you will hear and see is about helping us to focus, and I hope you will find that what we are going to present to you shares a little of what we hope and believe is a common ground of the priorities and the things most important to the people who live and work in the neighborhood. We have heard loud and clear, build on our strengths, bring in new development, pay attention to wellness in mind, body, and spirit, and by all means, give special attention to the younger generation, those in our community who have the most at stake. I want to thank you on behalf of so many of us who have been in one way or another involved in the Phoenix Next project for the time you devoted, for the care and your concern. I'm willing to admit that at the beginning, we all had some concern. We all had mixed emotions. That's honest, that's legitimate. But I hope when we finish the discussion this evening, you will agree that we have a vision that one way or another we each had an opportunity to give input to take advantage of the time to occur. And please remember, it's a plan. If it's going to go forward, it means we have to continue to work together. It is because what's important to us is the people who live and work in this community. We are willing to continue to step up. Thank you. Thank you from all of us. I thank you on behalf of the people who have been involved in this project. And before I sit down, I will take a moment to introduce to you Mary Salas, who is the President and CEO of Premier Health.
Good evening, everyone. I know the acoustics are not the best, so I'm going to come up close. Sister Carol, you did a beautiful job and you just did my entire speech.
Anytime.
But I always have something to say, and one of the things I would like to say, I don't know if everyone here realizes that I know many of you know Sister Carol, but she just retired after serving 40 years in the if I told her that, but I think I can tell you for a lot of us, Sister, your passion and your ministry for helping others is an incredible role model. And I'm going to say publicly, as a private citizen, I understand you intend to stay involved. And so I think that's great news. I would also like to take just a minute to acknowledge my board chair, the Premier Board Chair, Anita Morris here. I think a lot of you know Anita is probably a full-time volunteer, and she spends countless hours with us. And most of all, I want to take a minute to thank you. As Sister said, I know you're here because you care, because you're concerned about the future, and you've obviously put in a lot of time already. And I hope tonight you again share your reaction to what we think with Planning Next and our other partners we've heard. This is a journey. This is an important step. So I'm so glad I got here about 5:40, and there weren't very many people, and I was concerned. But I'm so pleased to see this crowd. In case you don't know, just a couple of numerics. We had 200 people interviewed. I know some people came to every meeting here. This is, I think, the third of this nature. But with the Phoenix Next Board and other meetings, the advisory group, we had 400 different people give their thoughts. And I think it's just better to say up front, not everybody's thought process is an agreement, and that's why it's a process. We're trying to see where that sweet spot is. And again, I would like to thank you, because I can tell you personally and professionally, the decision to close Good Sam was probably the hardest thing that the Board of Premier and myself has gone through. And I know there's a lot of emotion still around that. And I acknowledge that. It's been hard on everyone. But I appreciate your presence and your willingness to participate. That means a lot, and I think that's very positive. I would be remiss if I did not thank the others involved, the other two major organizations, and that's been Citywide, who has tremendous expertise, and the City of Dayton, who have served very honorably on the advisory committee, and I'm so pleased. We have done historically many great things together. We care about the community. We may come at it from different perspectives. Our mission is to improve the communities we serve. That doesn't mean we don't make hard decisions, but we've been around, starting with Miami Valley and Good Sam, over 100 years. And our long-term goal is to serve our communities well into the future. This school is an example. This is an example of the first phase of the Phoenix Project. And it so well represents, when you come together, the great things you can do. Because I don't think any of us have a corner of truth. So again, I thank you for being here. I thank you for our partners. My goal is to have more partners, because I think whatever aspect of Dayton, whether it's West Dayton, Northwest Dayton, we do better collectively, and we need everyone to partner and work together. So thank you for your time here tonight. I think you all know Jamie Green. You got to know him. Jamie is a principal with Planning Next, and he has an incredible record of accomplishment. I'm sure he won't share. But I want to introduce you and thank Jamie in advance for facilitating the discussion, and he'll explain why these chairs are set up so
March this past year. And how about August? So there's quite a few of you that have that experience under your belt, and there's no doubt some of you that this is your first meeting in this process. So our hope tonight is that you see the progress that's been made from that initial brainstorming back in March to some concepts to some very specific ideas tonight that we're sharing and testing with you. So the idea is that we want to give just a general overview here, but we do have 4 different areas for discussions and topics, and that we really want you to spend some time there, and we will give you at about 25-minute increments sort of the call to switch. If you'd like to switch, you can stay at any one of these as much as you would like. But in terms of our focus tonight, I wanted to acknowledge others who've been involved in this process. Both Mary and Sister Carol talked about who's been helpful in this. We have an advisory committee in this process that over the last 8 months has met about 7 times, representing all different kinds of interest in this process, and I wanted to acknowledge them. In addition to this advisory committee, there is an investment committee and board of Phoenix Next. And again, you can see that we've got community representatives, we've got city representatives, citywide representatives, and Premier as well. So all of the work that you've generated in these 3 meetings and those 200 interviews has been, we've done our best to distill those into some logical, responsive framework. Tonight, we want to share with you the vision for not only the 13-acre site, but the surrounding neighborhoods. We also want to share with you some ideas about opportunities beyond this immediate study area that we think are important to the conditions for success. We know that some of you in this process have felt strongly about really putting all of our focus maybe on the 13 acres. But in order for that to be successful and attractive for reinvestment, we've got to do other things to make that opportunity more attractive. So we have, what you will engage with here shortly are several dozen specific projects, policies, or programs that we think help move this part of taking forward. And then at the end of my remarks, I just want to make sure that you don't leave here tonight without knowing what happens to your good work this evening. So the vision itself, over the last 2 months, we've engaged, as you've already heard, and many of you have experienced. We also took what your interest and your insights were by virtue of living here, working here, trying to raise a family. We also looked at the conditions and trends. And at the last meeting, we heard from our economic consultant who had done some work about potential opportunities, and that is baked into our recommendations as well. We've looked at the physical environment, like what is possible here, what are the core characteristics in terms of the neighborhood fabric, and how that should inform or influence what happens with 13 acres. And we've looked at the existing services and activities. One of the things that we've discovered is that there are a lot of organizations that support this part of the community, maybe not as well coordinated, maybe not as well known, and so we've tried to bring that to light in our recommendations as well. And then the 4th bullet there is that we've deliberated with the groups. A lot of different interests. Not everyone is in favor of everything that's come forward. You must experience that in your own small group conversations. But we have, and I would speak for the board and the investment committee and the advisory committee, have respectfully, listened to different points of view and tried to put our best foot forward. And I hope what you see tonight is a reflection of that best foot forward. In terms of today, the recommendations are organized into 4 buckets, if you will. There are recommendations specifically about the 13-acre site. And those recommendations and that small group conversation will take place on my left in the board's marked A. There are recommendations about the surrounding neighborhoods. What is happening across the street from the 13-acre site? that's important for the 13-acre site to realize its potential. And then there are recommendations about what happens beyond the immediate neighborhoods in the planning area. What happens up and down Salem Avenue that could make it more attractive or conducive to want to come to an improved area on the 13-acre site? And there are recommendations about that. And then there are recommendations that are not about bricks and mortar necessarily. They're about how do we stabilize the neighborhoods that are immediately around here in the area. There's also some important input that we heard from you about programs that have to do with learning and education and young people. And so there are recommendations in the program about what would the next generation of learning mean for this part of the community. So it's A, B, C, and D when we break up here. There are two overarching themes that we think are driving the detailed recommendations. And that has to do with wanting to promote well-being. We know that in terms of health and well-being, there's so much that happens before you actually need to see a physician or go to a hospital. And so what are those predictors of well-being that we can address that actually are happening in the neighborhoods? So that is an important theme that you should see in all four of these buckets. The other part I just mentioned as an example is about the next generation of learning. We know from our work around the country that one of the most important determinants about where people choose to live and invest has to do with what's happening with young people in learning. And so this is a great example and a great asset to build on. Your library here, what do we do to leverage that and to really make this area in the future a place where people want to be as it relates to learning and advancement? So in terms of success, there's a number of things that we think about beyond these specific recommendations. One is that for this area to realize its potential, it's going to require attracting other investments. Premier, as part of this process, has put several $1 million into play to help with implementation. But we've always thought, and you should always think about leveraging that money, how to turn that in to several times that amount. That's going to take creating an attractive environment for that investment. So when you see things here that maybe aren't directly related to the 13 acres and the real estate, I want you to think about, is that recommendation, if it was implemented well, would it be attractive and part of a larger game plan to see something happen here? One of our recommendations, coming out of tonight, when we hear what you have to say about the work, is to go to the private sector and share with them these recommendations and see what they might be interested in. So we intend to do that specifically. There are a number of partnerships in play. If we're going to be successful in implementing these several dozen projects, policies, and programs, it's going to take partnerships to do that. And so the recommendations, the details, will have a lot in them about who should be participating to make this happen. We think that staying engaged, the constituencies that have been involved so far, the advisory committee, we want them to continue to lean forward. We want you to find ways to continue to lean forward and be involved in this process, because the change is likely to happen more thoughtfully and more successfully with more of us working together. So we want you to do that. And tonight you have an opportunity to tell us if there are specific recommendations that you are really passionate about. We want to know about that, because we think there are ways for you to be involved in that process as well. We also think that we want to continue to act with some urgency. We've been at this planning process for a little less than a year. A lot of work has happened, but we want to continue to lean into the work. Having said that, though, it's also going to take some patience, right? Because these things take time, particularly as it comes to the real estate and major real estate reinvestment. So there is a point to be patient, hopeful about the future, and helpful in how that actually happens. We're all engaged in this for particular reasons. We want to see particular outcomes. we've taken the work that you have shared with us over the last 8 months and articulated outcomes that we think are important to you. We then have given everything that you've said to us to the advisory committee, the investment committee, the board, and they've tried to distill out of a list of 16 items what comes to the top. They're all important. But if you look on the left-hand side, the 4 that really came to the top, at least as best as we can understand it, was that you want something to happen here that drives economic vitality, that creates jobs, and not just jobs for other people, but somehow can we connect these jobs to people in the neighborhoods. We've learned from the research that there's a significant number of you that travel outside the neighborhood for work. Can we do something here that actually improves those opportunities? Enhancing the image. What can we do here with this forward-looking vision that enhances the image of this part of Dayton? Image, identity are going to be important in attracting the investment. And so many of you were right on that. An outcome here is that we've leveraged investment. If we look out 5, 10 years from now, we want to know that we've turned in an initial investment to something much more substantial. And then right behind those were these ideas about promoting healthy living and catalyzing other positive activity. So we want to think about investment here and leveraging, but doing that in a way that it compels other things to happen. The other ones you can read through, but hopefully they're outcomes that resonate with all of you. So in terms of the work tonight, as I mentioned, there are these 4 stations, A, B, C, and D around the room. They all have some objectives, some higher level sort of direction that we think we learned from you, and then they're supported by specific recommendations. We've got teams in each one of those areas to answer your questions, to take your comments, but you all should have picked up when you came in a simple document that you can write your comments on there, share your feedback with us, and then there's a blue exit question on the back. So if you've got important things to share with us, it would be really important that you write them down. Just like the previous 2 meetings, we will database, collect, and analyze all of the good work that you've shared with us tonight. So review them, comment on them, and let us know how you might want to get involved in the work. So hopefully that's pretty straightforward for you. In terms of next steps, beginning tomorrow, there will be these boards will all be on display. So if this is a lot to take in, and I would admit that for those of you who are really interested in all 4 topics, it's a lot to take in. You'll be able to go to the library. These will also be online. So if you go home tonight and you want to look more closely, or you want to invite somebody that you run into, you live with, there are other opportunities to do that. We intend to take your input, refine the recommendations, prepare the implementation plan, and then finalize the reuse and redevelopment strategy. So in about February, we intend with the Phoenix Board to have the final set of recommendations with your input, and those will be made available on the project website as well. So I want to thank you for your willingness to come here and continue to be thoughtful in this process. As was said earlier, these chairs are an odd location. We didn't have any in the middle here to begin with, because you plan these things, you don't know how many people show up. But we would love for you, if you're in one of these areas and you want to stay there, to turn your chairs around, bring them up toward the easels. We'll make a brief presentation, have a conversation, and then you'll have an opportunity to engage with the work. And then we will just let you know when about 25 minutes has passed if you want to move to another. You can stay at one, you can go to one and leave, whatever meets your needs tonight. So for the group since there are a large number, if there's a group of you that want to have a conversation with me, just in general, we could pull these chairs around here, we could create a 5th group here in the middle. So again, thank you very much. Really great that you're here, and look forward to your insight on what you see. So, thank you very much. Get your chairs turned around and go to whichever 4 or 5 stations you want to go at. Thank you. So the intention was I would just give them a little about what's on the boards, like the major ideas and things, and then give them a chance to take a look. But they should pull their chairs up. Yes.
Hey, David. How are you?
Baby.
Close, and I look at the street, and you're talking about the best in the building, people coming through the air, and we got to take a deep, hard look at that.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and I would just say that I know that that's being worked out, and it will meet all the health and safety welfare
I hope so.
requirements.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Hi, Denise.
I just have a strange idea. While it would not generate money, I believe it would save money for the state overall.
Yeah.
I'm looking at profit shares
Okay.
and what their needs are.
Okay.
And I could see this as a place where people who are foster care parents be a place where you could have no more than 5, I think 4 or 5.
Right.
But they want foster care parents.
Yeah.
Because people either don't have the home set, whatever. But I could see this as a possibility. It would generate money, it would save the state money, but you could have parents who are identified as people who go through the process and everything. And they can have 4 parents with 4 children in an apartment. And then all of the social workers would meet in one place. Rather than traveling all over, different hours, different times.
So consolidating some of the services together.
And you have, in order to have an apartment there, you have to have take care of 4 children.
Interesting idea. Have you written that down anywhere?
No.
Denise? Okay.
I'm gonna write it down.
No, I would love to have it though.
Hi, I'm Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. Jamie?
Hi, Jamie. First of all, I was wondering, are you going to have a question and answer time after this, or is this it?
No, you're at your self-pacing right now.
Okay, but I mean, is there going to be like another, are we regrouping and then going to have a...
Tonight?
Yes.
No, we're at your own pace.
Okay, so one of my questions, if I may, is that you had, Phoenix had $10 million originally, and then tonight you stated that there was $7 million.
I said several.
Oh, you said several.
Yeah,
okay. So has some of the money been used, the $10 million? Because my understanding, and rumors out there, and you always have to be careful, but that some of the monies have gone to like nonprofits already, that it's already being disseminated. And
there is not, the money has not been distributed to nonprofits, but that $10 million of transition money, some of it has been used for like the services of Citywide Development Corporation, which is who Premier contracted with. Yeah. So some of that's been used, but there is also some other money that's been put back in, because there, other programs that city, like this project is 15 years in the making. But some of that money, it's being budgeted right now, but some of it is being used in transition, and the investment committee did vote to approve continuing, like the police, the community police piece into the next year. So that's come out of that, but the budget is still being addressed right now.
So my name is Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen.
Will federal funds be involved with tearing down or investment in regard to building? Will there be contracting for federal funds? So
my role is what happens next. So I'm not really involved in what it means to take the building down. So I don't. I mean, I could speculate. It's Premier. I mean, it's their property. So
I have a few other questions.
Not really their building. They haven't paid property tax on it for 100+ years. It's the community's building, and we believe that it should not have a deed restriction on it, and it should be put up for auction for another healthcare provider to see if they want to come in. I don't know where they get this idea that they own something that they never really paid for.
This is it. Where should I go when I want to know, if I want to ask about will there be a percentage if it is indeed taken down? Will there be a commitment to a percentage of the jobs staying right here in Dayton, as well as hiring right here in Dayton to work on site?
You mean like the new jobs or construction?
Yeah, the construction workers, the contractors. Will contractors' jobs will local bidders come first?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But if that's a concern or comment you have, we'd like to have it, right?
Okay.
So are these comments going to Premier as well?
So if you could read the who's involved in the board and who's in the investment committee, Premier has seats on there, like with the city and community representatives. So everything you give us goes to them, and Premier is part of that.
Okay.
So if you've got concerns or ideas like that, that's why we're here.
Major concerns.
Yeah.
Major,
minor, like whatever they are, we want to know.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The status on the decision to raise the building tax I mean, there's still some pushback from that. Is that something that allegedly is a definite go-ahead, or definitely going ahead?
That has been the assumption that I've been given, that the advisory committee's been given, the investment, the board, is that decision's been made, and it's not being reconsidered.
Okay, so then the 10 million investment that has been used to some extent, what percentage of that has been used for city?
I don't know. I don't keep the books. I don't know that.
So you're saying to make some citywide things?
Yeah. I know there's been there's other money that's part of this program.
Right.
But I don't know that.
Okay. Well, the actual investment in the actual structure, as opposed to just the site, because everybody's referring to it as a 13-acre site, as opposed to revitalizing that structure, which, if it's a given that it's going to be raised, then that point is moot. Is the coalition that was organized to try to stop the raising of buildings, that coalition being worked with in conjunction with this redevelopment?
So all I can tell you, Craig, is that my focus is the going forward. So I'm not involved in that part of it.
Well, that's a grassroots, faith-based church organization.
Yeah.
And then going forward, I would imagine that working with those folks would be critical.
Oh, so going forward, I thought you were talking about going back.
No, I'm talking about going forward.
Yeah.
There's no going forward.
Yeah.
Any yesterday's one.
Yeah. So if those, we've been open to anybody who wants to engage in the process. So when that group decides that they want to engage proactively about what's going on, as opposed to the decisions that have been made, then I can't imagine why they wouldn't be involved. But I think that's their choice.
Well, they're very involved in the community because they represent many of the faith-based organizations in this area. And if this project is going to be successful, the faith-based commitment to the community, as far as all the outlines that have been laid out.